to another episode of the Niger FC podcast. We are live. We are live. Smith Layi, how you doing today? How you doing?
Big to start. I'm doing well.
Yeah. We're just waiting for people to join in. Let us see. Let me see. Make sure everything is working correctly. I see YouTube seems to be looking fine. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're not live on Instagram today, but YouTube seems to be working fine. Let me just check Twitter. Twitter seems to be working fine as well. And Facebook is working fine as well. Okay. Let's just give people some more time to join the chat, to join the program. Unfortunately, we're not live on Instagram today, but YouTube seems to be working fine. I know we didn't really inform people about today's live show, but hopefully they are used to the schedule by now. There's just been so much going on. There's been so much going on, so bear with us, guys. I see more and more people are coming on YouTube. Thank you very much for joining, guys. If you're on YouTube, please just make sure you are subscribed to the channel so that you can engage with us. Help us by liking the video so that you let the platform know that we are doing good stuff and they can recommend the video to more and more people. And of course, if you're on Facebook, you can also um, follow the channel, and same thing on X on Twitter. But yes, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much. Before we get into the conversation today, please, if you are watching, just let me know where you're tuning in from. Just let me know where you're tuning in from so that I can see you and I can hail you very quickly and just say what's up. Let me know where you guys are joining from, please. Let me know where you're joining from. Um, okay, we have a few more people rolling in. Smith, just to let everybody know what we're doing today. We're going to be previewing the Super Falcons match that is coming up against Brazil in the Olympics, in the Paris 2024 Olympics. The Super Falcons have been training hard and they are getting ready to do battle against the Selecao. I mean, this is going to be an interesting game. First of all, it's the first match of the tournament for us, so a lot riding on it. I see Super Falcons fans page tuning in from Canada. Thank you, Super Falcons fans page. I appreciate you joining the show today. A bunch of people on YouTube, but they're not telling us where they are tuning in from. But yeah, nevertheless, we thank you guys. We thank you. We appreciate every single one of you. So yes, we're previewing the Super Falcons match coming up against Brazil on Thursday. First match of the tournament, big game. We're in a tough group. In case you don't know, we are in a group with Brazil, Spain, and Japan, three of the top 10 teams in the world. So it's going to, on paper, it's supposed to be an uphill battle for us. But a lot can ride on this first game. If we're able to secure a good result in this first game, kind of like we did at the 2023 Women's World Cup, when we went into that first game against Canada, knowing that we needed a good result there to set us up for success, and we're able to get it. I think similar sentiments for this game. If we're able to get a good result against Brazil, it could be the catalyst for a good tournament for us. So yes, Group C, we're going up against two-time silver medalist Brazil. On paper, Brazil will be favorites to win this game, but of course they were disappointing at last year's World Cup. Whereas the Super Falcons were quite impressive at the last World Cup. So it could be an interesting battle between both teams. Smith, before we get into the details, um, what is your first thought, on this Brazil team? What's your first thought on this matchup when you hear that Super Falcons are playing Brazil?
Beatable, beatable. the weakest team in the group on paper. No, it's not on weakest team in the group on paper. We are the weakest on paper, but playing against Brazil team that is not really Brazilian like. It's more of a
Mm,
bolting wanderers type of Brazil. so so that's why I think that they are not really known for their flair. Since Christiana retired, since no matter she's going towards like almost 40 years of age now. So,
mm.
is she 40 or more than 40? I think it's
Marta,
almost, yeah, Matcha, yeah.
how old is she right now? Let me double check.
Yeah, I think she's
Um,
almost 40.
she is currently 38 years old.
Yeah, 30 years old. So, so when I, realized that this team is not really as strong as, the Brazil we used to know. So that's why, when I hear Brazil is the first game, I'm optimistic that we can get something out of the game. So I'm not really scared and I'm happy that it's our first game.
Hmm. Okay.
Yes.
Let's quickly go into a little bit of background to catch people up on how the teams made it to this to this Olympic tournament. So of course, the Super Falcons of Nigeria are qualifying for the first time in 16 years. We showed a lot of passion, we showed a lot of resilience to make it to this Paris Olympics. The CAF qualifying process is a three-round process. We beat Cameroon and South Africa along the way. South Africa, of course, was our final opponent. Was a tense, tough battle. We won by a lone goal, which was a penalty by Ajibade Rashidat. So a tough encounter, but ultimately the most important thing was that we made it to this tournament. You know, and Brazil, Brazil is South America's most successful team, and they had qualified for these Olympics 2 years ago. By reaching the final of the 2022 Copa America, the Brazilian Copa America. They beat Paraguay in the semis, and they beat Colombia in the final to secure their place at this tournament. So Brazil, you would say, relatively straightforward qualification process, whereas the Super Falcons had to grind and had to go through the ringers to be able to make it to this tournament. But ultimately, now that both teams are here, how you qualified does not matter too much anymore. As long as you are here now, you have to do the job. You are here because you deserve to be here. You are here because you are good enough to be here. Um, and you have to do a job. But Smith, like, what can you just say quickly about the road to qualification for both the Super Falcons and the Selecao of Brazil?
For me, I think the Falcons' road to qualify was like more tedious compared to the Brazilians because you have to. I remember, I think our first game was against Ethiopia. That was we had to like beat them to progress and face Cameroon. Imagine you are facing Cameroon that have been to the Olympics before. You are
Mm,
facing South Africa, current African champion. So because we have those that two slots in Africa, it makes it very, and it's also home and away basis too. Makes it very tough road to qualification. For me,
mm,
like you said earlier, the way you qualify does not actually really matter. What matters most is that what you are bringing to the Olympics. And for Brazil too, I don't know why their qualification is that way. Imagine they qualified and it's like a double whammy.
mm.
They qualified that with that tournament they qualified for the World Cup. With that same tournament too, they also qualify for the Olympics. Imagine you are getting double. It's a buy one, get two extra. If they can be doing African qualification like that too, maybe it's going to save us like stress and and traveling, and it's going to save us money. But for me, I think that uh, it wasn't that straightforward for them because their final game wasn't that easy against Colombia. But
Mm.
if I can tell you that there's no really competition in South America compared to Africa, it's
Yeah.
it's really competition in South America. It's Brazil or any other. It could be Argentina today, it could be Chile to the end. If we catch Argentina, you go. You can't compare. I don't think you can. I don't think Argentina can even beat Morocco. Honestly, I don't think Argentina can beat Zambia. And I think Colombia now is getting stronger and stronger. So for me, I think it's a more straightforward qualification for Brazil, but not that straightforward for Falcons.
Mm. Well said, well said. I definitely think the competition is a lot tougher. Just in anything that you are doing in Africa. I mean, look at South America. Unfortunately, or fortunately for them, they just don't have that many countries in their region. That's part of the reason why even on the men's side, they'll be inviting USA, Canada for their Copa America just to beef up the competition a little bit more. Whereas in Africa, we have many hungry national teams that are trying so hard to get to this kind of stage, to get to this kind of level, to be able to show themselves. So definitely not an easy road for the Super Falcons. Not the easiest road for Brazil, but like we said, both teams are here now and they have to deliver. Let's talk about how the two countries have performed at the Olympics, historically. The Super Falcons, like I said earlier, are returning after a 16-year absence. The last time that we were at the Olympics was in 2008, in Beijing. So it's been a very long time. And for a lot of the Super Falcons players now, they are excited, to be able to attend their first Olympic Games. So this is a huge deal for us. And then in our previous appearances, I think we made it three consecutive times: 2000, 2004, 2008, and then the best performance we had was 2018, where we won the gold medal in that competition. You look at the Brazilian side, they have an impressive record. They've qualified for every edition of the Olympic Games, since the women's football tournament was introduced. And in every tournament that they've qualified for, they've made it out of the group stage. So Brazil historically has a fantastic record at these games, and their best outing 2004 and 2008, where they won silver in both of those competitions. So Brazil are two-time silver medalists.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the record of the Super Falcons, versus the record of Brazil, do you think this is something that matters? Can this play a factor when you're looking at the teams performing in this tournament?
For me, I think record is not really vital. For me, it depends on how prepared you are for this type of what competition. Because the way I see it, I don't think record is something that will actually what play a role here. Because the Brazilian team that played against Nigeria in 1999 is different from the Brazilian team that will play against Nigeria now. Nigerian team that also played in 1999 and the ones now, they're going to be different. So for me, I think, and the funniest thing is that all these girls that you see here, they don't even have any idea about even those ladies that actually were played in the past. So it's like 11 with 11. So it's not as if you have their numbers. No, it's 11 with 11. Then we see exactly who is going to actually will triumph that day. I think is who shows up that day that will going to win. The record is going to be out of the table, out of the room. No, I don't think so. I don't think record will play any key role.
Okay, so you don't think experience in the tournament can help Brazil in any way? You think it's just a matter of who shows up on the
Yeah,
day
who shows up?
when we go to
Yes.
battle?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Okay, okay. Moving forward quickly, let's talk about our head-to-head. Brazil versus Nigeria in the women's side. The teams have met twice in the past, and unfortunately for us, fortunately for them, Brazil have come out on top in both encounters. The
Mm-hmm.
first one was a 4-3 win for Brazil at the 1999 Women's World Cup. A very
Yes.
exciting match, where Brazil won the game in the 104th minute or thereabout. Very
Mm-hmm.
exciting match. And then the second meeting was at the 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing, which I referenced
Mm-hmm.
earlier. Brazil defeated us 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
So on paper, Brazil are the better team according to FIFA. When you look at their historical record at the Olympic Games, Brazil have had the better record. When you also look at head to head, the times that we faced each other, Brazil have done better.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think this means for this match? Can this play a factor? Again, I ask this question: can this play a factor when it comes to the game on Thursday?
No, for me, I think it can't. I don't think it can actually would play a factor because I think the girls are actually was coming with different psyche, like with a different mentality about how to actually how to approach. And don't forget that some of these girls that actually will play for Brazil too. They are not strangers to the Super Falcons. Like you mentioned, the former Atletico Madrid player that's called anybody will actually what know. You mentioned the Orlando Pride contingent, from Brazil. The our MLS what's it called? WSL. Is it W? Is it
Mm.
NW? Is it NWSL? I
Yes,
don't know where because
NWSL.
NWSL our IWSL contingent we also know them. So for me, I think it's gonna be especially who really wants it more. So because he'll be having better, opportunities against me, but I don't think that one will actually play any role at all. So in my opinion, I just think that the girls, I just hope that Randy Wardrum scouted the Brazilian very well, and the approach we should approach Brazil different from the way you used to approach them before, because now they are favorites. Even the bookies see they're actually what their favorites. We see exactly what they're gonna actually want to do. But for me, I think we're gonna be. I think we're gonna come out on tops.
Hmm. Okay. And Smith, like, are there any players, for people that might not be aware, some people that are watching or listening to us might not be so familiar with the Brazilian team. They might
Hmm.
not necessarily know the players that are there. Are there any players on the Brazilian team that you think the Super Falcons need to pay attention to, that you think with the fans need to watch out for on that day?
So I think for me, I think it's gonna be Nina Gomez. The sorry, what's it called? The lady that used to play for Atletico Madrid before. I forgot her name now. Very very good
Ludmila?
player. Eh?
Ludmila?
Luke Miller, yes, very, very good player. And I also think that Adriana might actually would be their joker.
Hmm.
I think Adriana can actually would be their joker. In fact, I'm even more scared of Adriana than the other girl lady. So I think we need to actually look. And they also have good score because they go with threat in set pieces. So I don't know. I think we don't have actually Plunter now, okay, in defense.
Our
She's very
physical
good.
person in that
Our
defense.
physical players in that defense. You don't have her. So I think it's gonna be extremely well challenging. But for me, I think set pieces and also Adriana can will be a threat for again for Nigeria.
Hmm.
For Brazil
I
against
think
Nigeria.
for me, I picked out four players on the Brazil side that I
Mm-hmm.
just think we need to be aware of. The first player, I think everybody's already aware of her. Mata. She's regarded
Mm-hmm.
as one of the greatest football players on the women's side, of all time. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people even consider her to be the greatest. Her skill, her experience. I believe she's second or third highest goal scorer in women's Olympics history. Fantastic goal scorer, fantastic player. She has about 118 international goals. And while she's now 38 years of age, like we mentioned earlier, I still think that she's one of those players, like I mentioned in our Group C preview. She's one of those players that just her presence alone, brings a little bit of fear of God into the hearts of defenders. While she might not be as quick as, or she's definitely not as quick as she used to be, she's not going to be able to play for as long as she used to play. I still think, there's this thing that they say in Nigeria, say day body. When you have it, you have it. If you give her enough space, she doesn't have to run for her to take a shot. And if the shot enter, the shot enter. So I think that she's somebody that the players just have to be aware of. She might not start the game, she will more than likely come on as a substitute. But
Mm-hmm.
while she's on the pitch, we have to make sure that we are able to curtail her threats and we're able to deal with her fairly easily or fairly comfortably. Otherwise, it could be a difficult one for our Super Falcons. Another player that I wanted us to look at is Gabi Nunes. So Gabi
Mm-hmm.
Nunes is a striker for Levante in the Spanish La Liga Femenina. That's
Yeah.
the league where a lot of our Super Falcons players ply their trade. She scored 11 goals for Levante last season. And I believe that she'll be looking at this tournament as an opportunity for her to go and show herself on the world stage. The same way
Yeah.
we're looking at our Super Falcons players and we're saying, hey, this is a chance for you to show yourself. Gabriel Nunes would be like, okay, if I can go there, score 4 5 goals, maybe be one of the top goal scorers of the tournament, maybe
Mm-hmm.
I can start to attract some global attention, some international attention to myself. So I think our defenders, have to pay close attention to her. I'm not saying that they cannot handle her, but I think if care is not taken, she's a threat, she's a good player, and she can punish. So our
Mm-hmm.
players just need to pay attention to her. Gabi Nunes. The third player that I had on my list was Rafael Souza. Rafael Souza is a center back. She's going to be captaining the team. I'm not sure if it's how Matara is captain, but I think she might be the captain of the team.
And
She's
she's
a
gonna be
solid,
on fit captain. Yeah.
yeah, she's a solid presence for them in that defense. She coordinates the defense, she marshals them pretty well. She's a good player. And I think that if Brazil is able to Falcons have, then Rafael Souza is going to play a role in that. I hope she's not on our game. But I just think our forwards should go and watch her a little bit. Maybe they can try to see what some of her tendencies are, try to see what some of her weaknesses are, and try to take advantage of those things when it comes to game day on Thursday. But Rafael Souza, that was my third player that I think we need to watch. And my fourth player to watch on the Brazilian side is a player that you had mentioned already. I'm talking about Ludmila da Silva. Ludmila da Silva, former Atletico de Madrid player, former teammate of Rashida Tajibade. I said this on the Group C preview as well before. If you haven't watched that video, you can go and watch it. But Ludmila was the star player of Atletico Madrid before Ajibade, burst into the scene and came and cemented her place. Unfortunately for her, 2 seasons ago, she suffered an ACL injury, so she had been out of action for a long time. And she has now recovered from injury. She played a few games towards the end of the last season, and she's still trying to find her way back into form. So she might not necessarily start. She might be a substitute, but she's a player that can play anywhere across the front line, whether from the left, from the right, or straight down the middle. She can play, and I think she's somebody that we definitely need to pay attention to. She has pace. Obviously, she got injured, so maybe you say she's not as pacey as she was, but she's still a pacey player, and she has a good finish on her. I know I trust Chiamaka Nadozie so much. I believe in Chiamaka Nadozie so much. But if you give Ludmila a chance 1v1 against your goalkeeper, I would say maybe 7 or 8 times out of 10, Ludmila tends to finish those types of chances. So she's somebody that we need to pay attention to. Whether she starts or she comes off the bench, I think if she plays from the left hand side, Michelle Lozier is going to have her work cut out. If she plays from the right side, Chidima Okeke or Nicole Payne, whoever starts from there, probably Okeke, is going to have her work cut out. And of course, if she plays to the middle, the center backs will have to do a good job. But those are the four players that I had picked out, and I think could be the keys for Brazil in this game. Um, on the Nigerian side, Smith, like, did you have any players that you had noted, as players to watch on the Nigerian side?
For me, I think I mentioned this thing when we were discussing initially. I said that it's going to be what Jennifer is changing. I think this like she's like the princess now. This like a proper audition for her. Now she's I think that this might be actually what a tournament. I think she's a player that Nigerians should watch out for. Very talented. She's full of trick. She can dictate the pace of the game. She runs at defenders, and she's very dangerous in the final third. I think Jennifer Echegini can actually can be what's it called? Can be someone that we actually have to watch out for. And also another player, that I think that I must mention is Christy Ushebe. Christy Ushebe, fantastic, the girl with 4 lungs. She has 4 lungs and all. So like to tell you the type of work rates, she's what's it called? She's very versatile. She's extremely very good. I think that in that midfield, you need one strong personality to be able to what's it called, to be able to displace her. In my opinion, I think she's another player that we need to actually they need to actually watch on. So for me, I think Jennifer Ichegide, Christy Uchebe, and I wouldn't want to say Rashida Ajibade because it's familiar to a lot of Nigerians already. So I think that a lot, if she didn't perform well, that is when we have to talk. But I think we expect her to do well. That is it.
Mm. Okay, very well said. And on my side, I think I had picked out um three players, or well, I say three players, but I will explain. So I think first of all, Chiamaka Nadozie,
Hmm.
goes without saying, fantastic goalkeeper. I've always said this. I've said this so many times. I believe she's one of the best goalkeepers in the world. She doesn't get the credit that she deserves, but she's a fantastic goalkeeper. I think Chiamaka brings confidence, stability, strength, discipline to the Nigerian defense. I interviewed Ashley Plumter after the Women's World Cup last year, and actually said that playing with a goalkeeper like Chiamaka, it was something that just brings so much joy and calmness to her as a center back, because you know that if God forbid you make an error, if somebody catches you, flat-footed, whatever the case may be, you just know that you have a goalkeeper behind you that can protect you and is able to do amazing things. And then another thing that Shamaka has is just her aerial prowess, her penalty box control. You put anything in the box, Chiamaka is either going to come and catch it or she's going to come and punch it. And if you put your head in the way, she's going to probably punch your head along with that ball. Chiamaka's judgment is very good most of the time. She has fantastic reflexes. She's obviously a fantastic penalty saver as well. We saw that at the World Cup. We saw that last season for her club. So I think it would be almost impossible for me to say that Brazil will not get any chance in the match. Being realistic is football. They will probably get one or two opportunities, but I think that's where Chiamaka really comes into play, and I believe that she'll be able to stifle the threat of Brazil for the most part. Hey, I'm not saying that her defender should just leave her alone because I said she's good, but I think she will definitely be a key player for the Super Falcons when it comes to the game. Um, another another player that I think we need to pay attention to is whoever the striker is. So for this one, I had written Oshuala, I had written Ihezuo. I don't know who the coach is going to go with. Maybe even Okoronkwo. But I think whoever the striker is on the day needs to apply pressure on the Brazilian defense and needs to try to, unsettle them, needs to try to put them off their game. Don't allow them to pass the ball around. Brazil is a team that if you give them time, if you give them the chance to pass the ball around, they are happy to take it. But I think that's something that we definitely should not allow them do. So whoever the striker is on that day, I think is going to play a key role for us. Um, yeah, they just need to put a lot of pressure. And of course, when the opportunity does come, when they get their chance, they need to also take their chance very well. Depending on how we set up in that game, we may or may not have too many opportunities to score. We have to wait and see what Randy Wardrum goes for. But our strikers need to be on their day. We cannot afford to miss too many opportunities. I'm not saying they should be robots and they have to score every single chance they get. That's maybe unrealistic. But we cannot afford to miss any glaring opportunities. Things like one-on-ones, things like empty goals, clear opportunities we cannot afford to miss. So whoever the striker is on the day needs to be very good. And then another player that I had, I'll say the third player that I had is Tony Payne. I was really thinking about this game, and I was thinking, who is the player that I think can make the most difference for the Super Falcons? And ultimately, my brain landed on Tony Payne. And the reason I think is because I think our midfield can better the midfield of Brazil. And this is with all due respect to the Brazilian players. But when I look at our midfield of Uchebe, I look at our midfield of Deborah Abiodun, and then I imagine Tony Payne lining up in front of them as the chief creator. Duda Sampaio is a good player, but I think that we can handle her and we can handle that midfield. And I think if we win that midfield battle and we're able to control the ball in the center of the park, that's where Tony Payne comes into play. We saw her against England. She created 5 goal scoring opportunities. So
Mm-hmm.
we know that she has that creative ability. She can pick a final ball. She can find players running into space. She can play through passes to the striker. She's also the person that is most likely going to be on set pieces, taking the free kicks, taking the corner kicks. So when I was really thinking of it, I'm like, see, Tony Payne can be a key cog, can be the joker for the Super Falcons in this game. If she's on her day, if we're able to win that midfield battle, she will be able to create a number of opportunities for us. I'll be surprised if she doesn't at least create 2 chances in that game. And if she's able to create more and our players are taking our opportunities well, I think it could definitely be an interesting one for the Super Falcons. So yes, those are the 3 Nigerian players that I pointed out that I think we need to really watch and that can make the difference for the Super Falcons when it comes to game day on Thursday. Um,
Yes.
so before we continue, let me just look at some comments that I have very quickly. Um, so Ayuba on YouTube is saying, I think Esther will do well also. And then Super Falcons fans page says the defenders have to step up this time, and we need to tune our offensive side of play and push for goals and not settle for draws. Yes, it's a tricky one. When you say not settle for draws, I don't think they are going to go into the game saying, "Hey, we want to draw the game and let's just take a draw." But at the same time, in competitive football, you kind of have to balance it. Obviously, you try to get a win. If maybe 85th minute the game is 1-1, sometimes you just rather take your points than go and lose. You only have 3 matches in the group stage, so you cannot afford to lose any game really. So I don't know how I feel about that, but yeah, I think the main goal is to go and try to win the game. But hey, sometimes you might have to settle for a draw. Sometimes
Yeah.
I think it's just something that happens in football. Like, did you want to say something about that point?
For me, I think I think I should. I agree with you. Depend on the circumstances. As you're going on in that game, for example, I imagine you getting a red card early. You have to look for a way not to lose the game. So, just like yours is, it depends on the circumstances you actually find yourself. If they also get like two red cards, you know, you will smell blood.
Mm,
Yes, I don't think I
okay,
can see comments from my own end. Yeah, I can't see comments.
yeah. The comments are not uploading properly on our studio, but I'm reading them from their individual platforms.
Okay.
We have people on individual platforms that are engaging with us, but our studio here is having issues, unfortunately. But yes, we I want to just shout out again to people on X, on Twitter. We have 70 people that are currently tuned in on X. We know we did not publicize this live show ahead of time, so thank you for everyone that has just happened to see it and come upon it. But just so you guys are aware, for those of people that are going to be listening to this after as well, we are going to be doing a live show, to preview the match a day before every game, and then of course we are going to also have our um, post-match analysis, which will most likely be recorded and not live show.
Mhm.
But after the games, we'll probably come live immediately after the game to get initial reactions, and then we'll do our post-match analysis. We recorded and uploaded on the channel after each game, probably a day after each game. Um, but yes, I want to shout out to you guys on X. Thank you for joining. I always like to see the big numbers on that platform. Make sure that you're following the channel. Make sure you repost, you share, so that other people can tune in as well. And I would not forget you guys. For the two people on YouTube, shout out to you guys on YouTube as well. Thank you for joining. If you haven't already, please make sure you like the video. This helps the platform to know that we're creating good content, so that you can recommend to other people and so that the channel can grow. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel as well, so that you can leave comments. We want you guys to engage with us. We don't want to talk to ourselves. We want to hear back from you guys. So please engage with us in the comment section. And if you would want to join us, if you'd want to come on live and to share your thoughts on this match, to share your predictions on this game, the link is going to be posted in a couple minutes. I'm going to post the link on all platforms, and then you'll be able to join us to share your thoughts and let us know what you think is going to happen, as well as your prediction for this game between the Super Falcons of Nigeria and the Seleção Feminina of Brazil at the 2024 Olympic Games. Um, okay, Smith Lai, back to the preview very quickly. When you look at this match, what do you think can be the key to success, or the keys to success for the Super Falcons of Nigeria?
Is staying compact. Is staying compact, and that is why I trust Randy Wardrobe. Is you have to actually what stay compact because Brazil want to start well, but in the first 10 or 20 minutes, you have to stay compact. You have to make sure that you don't concede early because if you concede, if we start on the back foot, we're gonna be in trouble. So I think the first thing is that what we have to what stay compact. That is the first thing we have to do. That is very key. And secondly, too, we have to look at how we can exploit them, both because they have flying right-sided defender and left-sided defender. So we have to look at how to utilize the space they are leaving behind too, and how to get past their very slow central defense. So, in my opinion, I think the key thing is that we have to stay compact. Secondly, is that the space that the right back and left back leave behind when they're attacking, we have to look for a way to exploit it. We have to set a
Mm.
trap for them.
I know there are some people that are hearing you say this, we have to stay compact, and they're like, oh, is Smith Lai telling the Super Falcons to go and defend? What would you say to those people?
No, when you say stay compact, is that look for, don't make mistake. If you remember the game against England, Tosin Demay was shaky in the first 15 minutes. If you remember, she cleared the
Yeah.
ball, she misjudged one ball, she was very shaky. So we have to avoid those moments. We have to make sure that we are settled. When they realize that we can also play football, they will respect us.
Hmm.
What is it?
He said when they realize that we can also play football, they will respect us. And if there's
Yes.
one thing that I really trust these Super Falcons with, I trust their ability to make another team respect us and another team to see that, hey, these Nigerians are not just here to participate. These Nigerians can actually play the game. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that happens. For me, I think one of the areas that we can really take advantage of, like I mentioned earlier, I think is in the middle of the park. I think our midfield trio of Uchebe, Abiodun are most likely Tony Payne, or maybe if the coach goes with Jennifer Echegini. I think that if those players can control the game, if they can win that midfield battle, it could be the catalyst for the Super Falcons to, take advantage of the Brazilian weaknesses, to take advantage of the Brazilian lapses, and to take control of that game. It's not going to be easy, but do I think it's doable? Absolutely, I think it is. The Super Falcons have more than enough quality. And then we are definitely going to look at some of our big name players like Ajibade Rashidat, like Asisa Toshwala. You know, they cannot afford not to come to the party.
Yes.
I'm sure Ajibade Rashidat will be licking her lips right now because remember the last World Cup, she was unfortunately suspended for the first game because of the red card she got at the WAFCON. So she
Hmm.
had to sit out while the girls were battling in that first game. But for this one now, she's going to be there from the start. She's captaining the team. Her first Olympics, the energy, the ginger, everything is going to be there. And I think, somebody like her needs to come to the party. She needs to be a constant thorn in the sides of the Brazilian fullbacks, whether she's playing from the left or she's playing from the right, or she's switching and interchanging. She needs to be able to run at players. She needs to be able to create opportunities for herself as well as creating opportunities for her teammates. And then if Oshuala happens to be the striker, or Ihezuo, if Ihezuo happens to be the striker, when you get an opportunity, you cannot afford to waste it. In fact, maybe the person I should even be telling this to the most is Uche Nakano, because we know that Uche Nakano sometimes, she can just decide to switch off and she can be having a very lull game,
Hmm.
lull. I'll use that word so that she doesn't take offense. But sometimes she can switch off. She's a player that I've said it time and time again. When she doesn't have to think too much, when she just has to make an instinctive reaction, just put a foot in, just jump and head it in. She's a very good finisher. She's a very good player. But sometimes when she has time on the ball, when she has to run at people, she's not sure whether she's supposed to cross, whether she's supposed to run down the flank, whether she's supposed to cut in, and then she can tend to overthink things too much or maybe try to do a little bit too much and lose possession. If you look, even the game that she scored in the match at the World Cup, she was having a relatively bad game, by all standards, before she was able to just make one quick reaction and score a goal for the Super Falcons. So I definitely think, our forward players need to be able to take advantage of any opportunities that come their way. And, even if it's Esther Okonkwo, I believe in her a lot. And I think that, you know, um, we have all the tools that we need. We have everything that it takes to be able to beat this Brazilian side. It's all a matter of how we apply ourselves, and how we try to take advantage of them. Um, just back to the comments very quickly. Don't quit on YouTube says, I think the choice of Chinwendu is not working against South Africa home and away. No go. I prefer Stalgonko. I don't know why our coach is changing the winning team. Um, I find it funny that you say that because first of all, Esther Okoronkwo was not even the striker that was leading the line at the World Cup.
Hmm.
So when you say why is he changing the winning team and not putting Okoronkwo, she wasn't the one that was there before. So I'm not sure which winning team exactly you're referring to. Ihezuo did not score a goal or did not get an assist, yes. And I know she's a striker. Strikers are completely um judged by goals and assists. At least in modern day football, people don't watch matches again. They look at stats. How many goals, how many assists? Yeah, a good player, not a good player. But if you even heard Randy Waldrum in the first game against South Africa, I think he praised Chinwe Duhezuo as the best player for the Super Falcons after that game. And it's because she does a lot by applying pressure on the players, pressing from the front, and she can force defenders into errors that can create opportunities for the team. So yes, we want her to score goals, we want her to get assists, but I don't think that you should completely just judge her and say, oh, she didn't score a goal in those two matches, so you don't think she's good enough to lead the line. In fact, in those two matches, the only person that scored a goal was Ajibade from a penalty. And Smith Lai, do you remember who won that penalty?
I think it was he Ushina Kanu?
It was either Kano or Ihezuo, I'm not sure. But if I'm not mistaken, it might have been Ihezuo, you know.
I think it was Yezu. It
So
was Yezu.
yeah, I think it was Ihezuo. She was pressing from the front and then somebody clattered into her, if I'm not
Mm-hmm.
mistaken. So,
Mm-hmm.
if they gave her penalty to shoot, she might have scored the penalty and you wouldn't be saying, oh, she didn't get a goal on her assist. So I think that that's not a very good way to judge a player. But yes, um, Emmy David is saying, I totally believe in this team. Go Falcons. I'm glad to see at least some people are believing in the team because the feeling from Nigerians was a lot different when they
Mm-hmm.
were going to what's it called, to the World Cup. A lot of Nigerians did not believe in the team. So at least it's good that this time, the girls have support and they have people that believe in them. And then we also have John Jones who is saying Eche Guinea is key. So Smilai, you had initially chosen Eche Guinea as your joker, if I'm not mistaken, for the Super
Yes.
Falcons. So I want you to react to that comment. Somebody says Eche Guinea is key. What do you think Jennifer Eche Guinea can do to actually make herself a key player for the Super Falcons in this game?
I think the way she drives, our defenders. That is one thing. We need a player that can actually run at defenders from the center, that can drive at them, make them commit. So in fact, if you're gonna win a penalty in that game, I think Jennifer Echegini is likely to be, the girl that's gonna win that penalty for us. She's someone that I even saw her highlights against Canada in the warm-up game. You can see the way she was driving at the Canadians. So for me, I think this is a game and is a player we need in the national team because a player that can cause problem into the opposition, very very vital for Super Falcons. So part of her game that I like is just the way she drives with the ball.
And where do you think it would be best for Coach Randy Waldrum to play Eche Guinea in this game? Where do you want to see her operating from on the field?
For me, I think you have mentioned Tony Payne, but I think Jennifer would have been the best option for me because I think Tony Payne can be on the right. You know, uh, she can be on the right. Um, Anybody can be on the left, but I think Jennifer she needs to start.
Hmm.
Very important. I think so. She needs to actually start. I think she's very very important for this team.
Okay, we'll go into our predicted lineup in just a moment, but let me see if anybody else has anything to say about this team. Um, Somebody is saying, I wish we took Rinsola Babajide. Like we can't really go into who is not there at this time.
Hmm.
So yeah, let's not talk too much about that one. But okay, let's go into predictions. So we'll start with, or before we go into predictions, let's do our preferred lineup. So as always, it's a football match, 11 players on the field. Like, how would you set the Super Falcons up for this game against Brazil?
I think the way I think the number one, I think she's gonna be Jamaga and Dozie. I don't think anybody can actually would argue with that, except anything actually what happens. That is when you not see Shamaka, have a value at the first choice. I think Shamaka can go right back. I think it's going to be Michael Dozie. I think she's locked that position down. Left back, I think it's going to be Chidima Okeke. I think she's going to be the left back. I think in the central defense is going to be the usual suspects, Tosin Dimei and Osna Johali. I think in the midfield, I think it's going to be, I'm going to play like a 4-2-3-1. I think in the midfield, I think it's going to be Deborah Biodun, the two, and Christy Ushebe. The three ahead of them would be Jennifer Chegide, Chegini, sorry, Ajibade Rashidat, and Tony Payne. Why up front? I think I will go for Uche Nakano.
Hmm. Okay, and
Yes,
what formation are you playing?
it's 4-2-3-1.
4-2-3-1. Hmm.
Yes.
Okay. For me, I think I would go with a similar team to you. 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, whatever you want to call it. In goal, undisputed number one, best goalkeeper in Africa, one of the best in the world, Chiamaka Nadozie. Without
Mm-hmm.
her, we'll be scared a little bit. So hopefully she stays fit for the whole game, for the whole tournament rather. But Chiamaka in goal. I think for the back four, I'm going to agree with you. Okeke on the left, Alozie on the right, Ohale and Dimeni as the center back pair. Um, Not too much other options that we have really with the reduced squad. In midfield, my three in midfield, I'm going to go with Uchebe, Abiodun, and then Tony Payne playing ahead of them. So I'm going to go with Uchebe, Abiodun, Payne playing ahead of them. And then in the attack, I'm going to have Captain Ajibade Rashidas on the left hand side. I'm going to have Jennifer Echegini on the right hand side.
Mm-hmm.
And then as my number nine, this is the one that gave me a little bit of trouble, but I think I'm going to go with Uche Nakano. I want them to supply Uche Nakano. I don't want her to run with the ball. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want her to overcomplicate things. I want
Mm-hmm.
Echegini to drive and square the
Mm-hmm.
ball into the box and for her to just tap it in. I want
Yeah.
Ajibade to drive and cross the ball into the box for her to just head it in. I just want her to be there as a marksman, as a finisher, as a poacher, whatever you want to use to call it. I just want her there to finish. She shouldn't do too much. Her job is to press when we don't have
Yeah.
possession and to run into the box when we have the ball, waiting for the ball to come, and then she finishes. For everybody that's watching or listening, please let us know who you think should start the game. What would be your preferred 11, looking at this game against Brazil? Very quickly, just let us know your preferred starting 11. Or do you agree with my team more? Do you agree with Smith Layi's team more? Let us know very quickly. And while we're waiting for people to just leave their comments, I just want to remind everybody that this episode of the podcast is sponsored by eaglestrackershop.com, where you can get your Nigeria flavored merchandise. Merchandise supporting Nigeria football, all the Nigerian football national teams. You can support, you can see the Nigeria football t shirt that I have on, you can see the Nigeria cap that I have on, and then there's so much more merchandise that you can purchase on eaglestrackershop.com. If you are in France, you should definitely purchase and wear to the games. Of course, you can wear your Nigeria jersey. Of course, that's the official regalia of the national team. But the merchandise, nice t-shirts, nice hoodies, nice caps, nice phone cases are supplementary items that you can use to rep the national team. You can use to rep the country and definitely use to show your support. Um, Okay, eaglestrackershop.com. And back to the comments very, very quickly. Um, Let me see what people are saying. So Don't Quit is saying Eche Guinea created the only goal we scored in one of our qualifying matches.
Against
She
Cameroon.
drove to the byline for Esther to score in the match. Yes, like against Cameroon. And he
Mm-hmm.
said, why I like Esther is because Esther has good positioning. So he said Esther has good positioning, and that's why he likes her to start in the game. Smidlai, what would you say to that? So we both went for Uche Nakano as our, strikers. But what would you say to somebody that says, hey, Esther Okoronkwo might be a better option?
For me, I think we need someone that can actually would harass, the defense line. And I think if you're looking for someone, if a team form low block against Nigeria, you need someone very intelligent. So, as a striker, to try and look for spaces. For example, now when we play against Cameroon, away from home and both and both away from home and our home leg, we played against a
Mm,
team that sat back. So we need someone like Esther Koronko to break them down and things. And she scored in that game. But when you are playing against a team that you might not be having the ball, you might they might take the ball away from you. So you need someone that can just call and and do something up front. So in my opinion, that's why I think Esther might not be starting Korongo. I just think that there's someone that's very physical, that can dominate, aerially, that can actually also score goals. I think that one. I think that fits the bill.
Mm. All right, all right. Um, Thank you for that, Smith. Okay, so now let's talk about predictions.
Yes,
Predictions for the game. Of course, it's the first
my
game of the
favorite point.
tournament. Yeah. Smila, it is your prediction that you never get right, but we, we will hear what you have to say today. Okay. So yes, first game of the tournament, the Super Falcons of Nigeria versus Brazil, the Seleção Feminina of Brazil. Smila, what's your final score prediction?
Unfortunately, no clean sheets for Nigeria in that opening
Okay.
game, but it's going to be 2 goals to one. One goal scored by Jennifer Echegene, and the other one scored by Ajibade Rashidat.
Hmm.
Mhm.
One goal by
Assist,
Jennifer
assist, assist
Echegini.
from Christy Uchebe.
Okay, not forget Crystal Chebe. So you said 2-1 to the Super Falcons.
Yeah.
Um, okay. For me, I'm going to go with a 1-0 win for the Super
Mm-hmm.
Falcons of Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go
Mm-hmm.
opposite of you. I'm going to say that there will be a clean sheet in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And the Super Falcons, will be able to secure a victory. And for my goal scorer, it's difficult for me to say who, but I think I'll just go with Rashid Ajibade to score the goal for the Super Falcons in, a thrilling 1-0 win. A thrilling 1-0 win. Um, I see somebody on Facebook, Kikiowo Ademola, says it's going to be a draw. Um,
Mm-hmm.
let's see, people on Twitter, people on YouTube, what do you guys think for the prediction? What do you think the final score is going to be between the Super Falcons and Brazil? Somebody said good prediction. Yes, we know it's good prediction, but give us your own prediction as well. Give us your own prediction as well. What do you think? And if you would like to come on to leave your opinions, to just talk to us very quickly, the link has been shared on the different platforms now, so
Mm-hmm.
you can definitely call in and talk to us before we wrap up for today. If
Mm-hmm.
you want to call in, the link has been shared. Just click. Make sure you are dressed up so that we don't have to take you off screen. But yes, if you want to call in, the link has been shared now on all platforms. I can see Prof Data O says Ihezuo or Okoronkwo will score. To me, it will be 2-1 victory from behind. Please, for the sake of my young heart, I don't need anything to be from behind. Let them, if anything, let them score two. Then Brazil can score one later. But please, I don't want us to have to come from behind. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
start stressing early in the game. Um, Let me see. Let me see. Do we have other predictions from
Mm-hmm.
people? Um, Umogbai victory says Nigeria 2, Brazil 1. So Smith, it seems like people are siding with your
Mm-hmm.
prediction today. Oh. So at least if it doesn't end up like that, it's not only you that will be wrong.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yes, a lot of people are saying 2-1 to Nigeria, 2-1 to Nigeria. Um, it seems like I'm alone with my 1-0, but I'll take it. Don't worry. When it happens, I'll come
Yeah.
back here and tell you guys that I told you so.
Okay. Okay.
Um, Let me see. Don't
Waiting.
quit says my team: Chiamaka Alozie Okeke Dimei Ohale, Abiodun Ucheibe Payne, Chinwendu Ajibade and Echegini. So he's going for Chinwendu up front instead of Kanu, who we both went with. And he's saying his prediction is Nigeria 3, Brazil 1. So we're going to reverse the score that they gave us at the 2008 Olympics. That's what
Mm-hmm.
he's saying. If Nigeria should win this game 3-1, I'll be super, super, super excited. It would be a marker, it would be a statement of intent to show that we are coming game.
Mm-hmm.
It would make every other team at this tournament to be on red alert, to know that if you match up against the Super Falcons of Nigeria, it could very well be a long night or a long day for you. Um, so it would be great if that happens, but not entirely sure if that will be the case. We have to wait and see. Um, Let me see. I have somebody that's waiting to join the program. Ademola, just hold on a second. I'll bring you on in a bit. Um, Let me see which other prediction we have. Darasimi Iman says, is Falcons 1, Brazil 0. Go by Kanu. Okay, so somebody that is predicting the same thing as myself. Darasimi says it will be a 1-0 win for the Super Falcons of Nigeria, even though we have different goal scorers. Whoever scores the goal does not matter. In fact, Randy Wardrum can score the goal himself as long as we win. I'm sure I'm sure we'll be
Mm-hmm.
happy. Um, and then XXX on YouTube says Nigeria 2, Brazil 1. Abiodun and Ajibade, Brazil will score an avoidable goal. this
Mm-hmm.
this one is even predicting the whole thing. When we get to those other matches, we'll predict. But he says Nigeria 2, Brazil 1. Abiodun and Ajibade with the goals for Nigeria, and Brazil will score an avoidable goal. So this man is saying that he doesn't have faith in our defense that we're going
Mm-hmm.
to concede an avoidable goal. Okay, but yes, let's start bringing people in. The link has been posted on all platforms. If you want to join, just make sure you click the link, have a good camera, make sure you're fully dressed, and we'll bring you on to hear your thoughts.
Okay. I don't. Hi.
Yes, hello.
Hi, guys.
Yes,
Hello, guys. Good evening.
good evening. Yes, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Are you?
Yes, I'm very well. Thank you for
Uh,
joining the program once again. Thank you for joining the
yes.
program. So yes, Nigeria versus Brazil. How are you feeling?
Fine. Fine. But I just do not think we can beat the Brazilians for now. And I do not see the uh, Brazilians too winning us. No, no, no. I do not see them winning us. At least draw. Brazil are a strong team, and we know what they've been doing in world football, and even our girls too. We are not that small too. I believe
Mm,
those girls will put their hearts together and they can at least get a draw from the game. But I wouldn't see
mm,
us losing to the Brazilians. No,
mm. Okay, so you said you think it's going to be a draw. So goalless
exactly
draw,
draw.
1-1, 1-1 draw. How do you think it's going to end?
No, we are scoring. It's going to be a scoring draw, not a goalless draw. No,
Okay,
we
and
are
who do you think
scoring
will score
and
for?
ah. This what is his name? This our number nine. This what is his name? I forgot her name now. Surely not Azizat. No, that is girl that they normally use as the top nine. So
Ihezuo?
no, with with dreadlocks.
Kanu?
Yes, yes, Kanu, yes, yes, Kanu can score.
Mm,
Yes,
mm. All right,
can
all
score.
right.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Demola. Thank you for joining us and for sharing your thoughts. I'll let you go now.
Okay, guys. Okay, okay. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. That was Mr. Demola saying that it will end as a score draw, with Uchenna Kanu scoring the goal for the Super Falcons. We have another caller. Victory. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. Good evening.
Yes, your volume is a little bit low. Can you just, speak up or fix your mic a little bit?
You said, can you hear me?
Your voice is
Hello?
quite low, but Smith, do you hear him okay?
My
Yeah.
voice is quite low. Can you hear me now?
Mm. Okay, yeah, go on. Nigeria versus Brazil. What do you
All
think?
right. Yeah, well, it's all boiled down to like what I said on your YouTube channel. It all boiled down to their will and their perception to win. Like to be sincere, I've been following Nigeria FC podcast on YouTube, watching many of the clips and videos. I've been watching your live podcast also. So and I'm a big fan of Smith Layi. To be sincere, I like the way he evaluates games for the for the pre-match conference and also even after the matches. So, like I said earlier, I've watched them train. I follow them on their social media platforms, especially on Instagram. I've seen them playing their various games. I'm a big fan of Ajibade, so I'm not new to the Super Falcons. I've been following them for a very while now. You understand? So, like, I'm not underestimating the Brazilian team. There's nothing to be whitewashed, to be sincere. But even at that, we also are the giant of Africa. If they can just bring their A game, starting from the goalkeeper, Chamaka, she's good on goal. She's confident. We saw what she did in the last FIFA under FIFA World Cup. You understand? There's the hair. We saw. It's just a pity. The lady I would love to see is Ashley Plumtree. I am confident whenever she's at the back. I don't know. She gives me the maturity, the vibe. She knows what she's doing at the game. But nevertheless, we also have players that could deliver. They could deliver very, very well. So Esther
Mm,
Okoronkwo is there. We have Oshola, we have Achibade, we have Chinwendu Uzo, we have Lucy Demeri, we also have Deborah Abiodun. So these are not local players. These are players that play in the female top light. So if you go for player to player by evaluation, we are not a small team. You get. I'm not. So I'm just confident. I'm 100% confident. If Nigeria could bring their A game, we will get a win. Understand? Yeah. Let me go to our local diet. Brazil are big name. We say na big name. So
mm,
we check. We watched the last Euro. We saw what Georgia did. We saw how Switzerland almost knocked out England. We saw how England struggled. We saw so literally if it all boils down to the 11 players, you get who
mm,
needs it more will get the win, and that's what I believe.
mm. All right, all right. And what would be your score prediction and goal scorer prediction for the game?
Yeah, I said it also on your YouTube comment section. I said 2-1. Yeah, I'm confident 2-1. Yeah, Brazil will
Mm,
score, understand, but we'll win. We'll win. It's a belief I have. I just know that. If possible, you may even turn up that if we play very well, we could get the 3-1 win. Understand? But it's a win for Nigeria. So that's it.
mm. All right, all right. 2-1 win for Nigeria. Thank you very much, Victory. Thank you for joining us
Yeah.
and sharing your
Thank
thoughts.
you, thank you. It's really yeah, I've longed for this moment. I'm pleased.
No, thank you, thank you. You said this is your first time coming on, yeah? He's already gone off, but let me just give him, you know, thank you,
I was
thank
scared. I
you.
thought that some people are there clapping.
No, thank
Yeah.
you. We appreciate that. Okay, if anybody else wants to share their thoughts, click the link. It's posted on all platforms, and you can join us and Brazil 0. Also, Brazil will have a red card in that game. Brazil will have a red card. So big prediction there by Ayuba. I mean, if Brazil gets a red card, it will only make things easier for us. So I wouldn't go against you. But anybody that is a betting person, if you trust Ayuba's prediction, you can go and put money on that. You can make some decent money from that kind of prediction.
Hmm.
Uh, Let me see. Do we have more comments?
I think you're bringing second person again. Is it victory again?
Oh, it's Victory again. Victory.
Uh,
He sent another request. Did you have
Yeah,
something to
sorry.
add?
I cut. No, you were trying to say that you were trying to say something before I mistakenly
Oh, no,
got
no, no.
hung up.
I was hailing you. You said you've been longing for this moment, so I was hailing
Yeah,
you
yeah.
as a first time,
First
caller. I
timer,
was hailing
right?
you.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Thank you,
I don't know
thank
if
you.
you, I
Yeah,
don't know if
thanks
you
so
heard,
much.
but I was clapping for you.
Oh, yeah, I can hear that now. Thank you so much. Thank
Yes.
you so much.
All
Keep up
right.
the good
Thank you.
IoT. Keep up the good work. Like, keep
Yeah.
up the good work.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of you guys.
All right.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, that was victory again. Okay, let me see. Do we have some more comments that I can take very quickly before we round up for this evening? Thank you very much to everyone that has been tuning in on Twitter. I appreciate you guys on X. Over 115 people on X right now. I appreciate you guys. Even though you guys on Twitter don't engage with us too much, throughout the whole live show, maybe we'll get one or two comments from there. But they are always watching, which I appreciate. Even though I want to engage, but I appreciate you for just watching. Dean Onso on YouTube says, Onu Monu at right back is my pick. She is composed and tackles well. Add on, she is very tall, strong, and smart. Smith Layi, that's a hot take right there. Would
Mm-hmm.
you play Ifeoma Onumono at right back?
I think it's too. I think the worst right midfield, not right back. People I think I'm easy. From striker, they take him back. Small time now, it doesn't mean you go keep. No, now I'm saying, I just think that the right midfield, left midfield should be the at least.
Hmm. All
Mm-hmm.
right, all right. We have another comment from Victory, who just joined us, says, I just believe our girls will make us proud. I'm confident in them. If these girls can bring their A game, then we can win. It all boils down to their will to win. Hmm. Emeka Timothy says Brazil is beatable. Also, IoT, I don't think Jennifer is a good fit for the right or left wing because she's not the strongest or fastest player. Also, we should consider corner kicks. Um, I mean, she's not the strongest. You're right about that. Echegini is not the strongest. She's not the fastest, but she can play from the flank. She's played from the flank a number of times for her side. Maybe not necessarily as a winger, that these positions get a little bit misconstrued and mixed up in today's football. She's
Mm-hmm.
more of a wide midfielder than a winger, you know. So she's not somebody that is going to be hogging the touch line and just running down the flank like that. But she is somebody that can play out wide a little bit, drive with the ball forward, and then come inside to create space for the opposition. Last year she had a breakout season. She played from the right side of their midfield a number of times, and she was able to get some goals. Other than her creative ability, playing from the wide areas also gives her that chance to make some late runs into the box. And if somebody crosses a ball or squares a ball in, she might be there to finish. So I understand what you're saying about her not being the strongest and the fastest. I know Nigeria. Whenever we think of wide players in Nigeria, we just
Mm-hmm.
think of strong and fast, just be
Yes.
bombing down the wing. But it doesn't always have to be like that, and I
Yes.
think Echegini can definitely hold her own on the flank. I will say that.
Yeah.
um okay, just before we wrap up, let's look at what the bookies are saying. We did this for the AFCON, so let's also
Yes.
do it for the women heading to this Olympics. Currently, I won't name any bookie because no bookie is sponsoring the show, but currently, odds for Brazil to win the game 1.57. Overwhelming favorites.
Mm-hmm.
1.57 odds for Brazil to win. Odds for Nigeria to win 5.25. So
Mm-hmm.
if you bet on Nigeria to win and it happens, you will get 5 times your money.
Hmm.
Hmm. 5 times your money. Put 100 naira, you get 525 naira. Put 1,000 naira, you get 5,250. Put 1,000,000 naira, 5 million plus. So
Hmm.
don't bet your salary, don't bet your rent money. But if the Super Falcons turn up on that day, they can make you some sweet cash.
Mm-hmm.
those are steep odds for us, but I wholeheartedly believe that we can overcome those odds. I
Yeah.
wholeheartedly believe that we are being underrated by these bookies, and
Yeah.
we can definitely get a good result.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's look at the odds for the score lines that we had gone for. So Smith Layi went for a 2-1 victory.
Mm-hmm.
If you bet Nigeria to win 2-1, is 17 odds. Hmm. So
Mm-hmm.
17 times your money. If you trust Smith Layi's prediction, 17 times your money. So if you people bet and you win money, just come back to the show to give us our 10% though.
Yes,
But
so
2-1
you don't win,
would
don't
be
come here.
17 odds. And then my prediction of 1-0 is 15 odds.
Okay.
1-0, 15 odds. So
Yeah.
the important thing here is that they do not believe that the Super Falcons really have a chance. All the
Mm-hmm.
bookies think is going to be a victory for Brazil. So we Nigerians have an opportunity to chop the bookies big if the Super Falcons turn up. Um,
Mm-hmm.
okay, let me see what comments are saying. Still a few comments before we wrap up. Donna Shine on Twitter on X says we should just try and get a draw against Brazil. They have very fast attackers, so it's not going to be wise to be too offensive. Hmm. Smidlai, what would you say to that comment? He says just try and get a draw. Brazil has fast attackers, so it wouldn't be wise to be too offensive. What would you say to that person?
Um, I always tell the person that the Brazilian attackers, they are not matched to Nigerian defense, in my opinion. So I just think that, but I just think that we need to also be very careful. Don't forget that this team too, we considered opportunities against Cameroon, in Abuja. Despite that Cameroon have less talented strikers too. That's why I want us to be more compact. On the very proper pitch in Bordeaux, I think this team will be very hard to beat.
Hmm. Okay. Um, and then the same person, Donna Shine, is saying his prediction for the game is 1-1. So 1-1, he said we should go for a draw, and then he's also predicting a 1-1 draw in that game. Okay, let's see what happens. I hope we win the game and we don't draw, but of course, everybody has their own opinion. Davidson says just play massive he said play mass defense, mass attack. As simple as that. Hey, if
Hmm.
only if only football was that simple. But I definitely understand what you're saying. Defend as a team, attack as a team, and they should be able to get a quality result
Yeah.
in that game. Okay, so in the absence of more callers, we are just going to wrap up the show for today. I'll give you the match details again. Of course, we're talking about the Paris 2024 Olympic Games, Nigeria's first Olympic appearance in women's football since 2008. It is Nigeria versus Brazil on Thursday, July 25th, and the game is taking place at the Matmut Atlantic Stadium in Bordeaux. The game kicks off at 6 p.m. Nigerian time.
Yes.
6 p.m. Nigerian time. If you live in the UK, I believe it is the same time for you.
Yes.
And then if you live in North America, that is 1 p.m. Eastern time. That is 1 p.m. Eastern, and that is 12 p.m. Central time. That is 10 a.m. Pacific time. If you live in
Yeah.
Asia, I don't know your time zone, so you have to do the conversion and check it. But I think I've covered the three places that we tend to have the most Nigerians. And of course, if you are in Germany, if you are in one of all those other European countries, it is going to be 7 p.m. For you in your side. So yes, make sure you tune in. If you are in France, just try to get a train ticket to Bordeaux.
Mhm.
Support the girls. We're going to be bringing you content from Bordeaux. So watch out for that on our social media platforms as well. If you're not following us on all social media, at Eagles Tracker NG on X and on YouTube, and then at Eagles Tracker _NG on Instagram and on TikTok and then we are Eagles Tracker on Facebook. So please make sure you are following us on all social media platforms so that you never miss any of the exciting content. Content is always different on all the different platforms. So you want to make sure that you are following us and you're subscribed everywhere so that you do not miss a single thing. So Smith Lai,
Yeah.
2 games about 2 days to the game. What are your final thoughts?
Um, like I said that if you want to enjoy the game, just get one suya on one side.
Hmm.
Super Falcons will give the best. Chrissy don't talk and say we should go and rest. I don't know, maybe some of you can know Elo Falcon Valley. So I think that we should actually be patient with the girls. I think that they will beat Brazil.
Hmm. All right. And I'll say for me, support the girls, have faith in the girls. We've seen them compete against top teams. We've seen them compete at a high level. We know that they can match up to any team in the world. But of course, they still need our support. Whether you're there in person, whether you're in the media, whether you are online, just leaving comments, whatever you're doing, just make sure you are supporting the girls. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to support the Super Falcons. Their first game against Brazil, if we can win that game, we can set ourselves up for a lot of success. Until next time, my name is AyoT. My co-host is
Smith Layi, thanks for joining.
yes. This is the Nigeria FC podcast. Bye bye, guys.
Yes.